Hello, my name is Anthony, and this is a video. We're going to look at Pulsar and how we can turn it into a synth. Then we're going to look at its envelope and compare it to the envelope of the ASeries, and then try to figure out how to get the ASeries envelope to work as the amplitude envelope for the Pulsar. Yeah, we're going to try to cover a lot. Let's get started. Start by opening up a combinator and throwing in a pulsar. The pulsar inside the programmer will need to be set to receive notes. When you've got that set, we're going to go ahead and tune the thing. The number you want is 262. If you can get it to dial to it, 262.5. Technically, it's close enough as far as I'm concerned. I like to have it dead on 262, so what I do is automate the LFO rate, and then I just enter a hard value of 262 into this, and yeah, okay, so that may or may not be helpful to you, but that would be how you get it dead on 262 hertz. Now, why am I using 262 hertz when the manual so clearly states 263? Well, there's that word called about in the manual. They suggest that you use about 263, and I found that if you use Neptune, and I'll have you know that this thing's already generating sound. We can't hear it because I haven't plugged it up, but if you run the audio out into the audio in of the Neptune, you will see that that pretty much lines up with C perfectly. You will see that it lines up with C. Yeah, say that a couple times real fast. However, if you put it on 263, you end up being just a little bit sharp, as you can see here. Okay, does it matter? Absolutely not. But, that's how you do it if you want to do it. 262, and we'll get rid of Neptune. Well, just to show you what happens the next. The thing we need to do is, now that we've got it set to a tuned instrument, if you will, we need it to track with the keyboard, so we'll turn the keyboard follow all the way to the north. And now if we press notes on our keyboard, we should see that Neptune is jumping with the keys, which is fantastic. All right, so yeah, basically, I showed you all of that just to say use 262 if you can get it there. If you don't really care, then 262.5 or 262.3 or 263 will work fine. And, okay, to prove that we do have sound, there's our sound. I'm going to drop the level over here. So with this synthesizer that we're building here, this is probably the most primitive synthesizer you can actually make. You have a sound source. We've pitched that sound source according to the rate of the LFO, and now we're going to have something modify the level, and that's pretty much it. What we're going to do initially is have this set up to be modulated using the Pulsar envelope. So let's take a look at it. We're going to run the envelope out into the input of my audio converter. I'm going to draw in some notes, C3, and then I'm going to jump up an octave. It doesn't really matter about the pitch as much as it matters about the velocity. I just want to show you a couple of the behaviors with the velocity. Like so. Okay, so with that, we should be able to record our envelope. Hold on. Let me adjust the attack upward a little bit so we can see it doing something. Alright, now if you'll remember when we did this for the ASeries, I ran into the question of how should it have been behaving when it came across tied notes. You see these two notes here adjoin to each other perfectly. There is no space between the two. And the envelope for the Pulsar, that is, behaves pretty much like the envelope for the ASeries in that it will not re-trigger the envelope just off of a key press. It actually has to have some kind of gap in between the two. So we have one envelope, an attack, the level, and then the decay, or the release rather. And then, as you see here, we have my three little notes. The other interesting thing is here that it's not velocity sensitive. So we're getting the same volume, and we can prove that by, oops, give me some sound here. Oh, it is hooked up. What am I doing? Oh yeah. In order to get the envelope to trigger or modify the level, you need to dial up this knob right here. This is the LFO1 level on the right side there. Fantastic, right? We now have our synthesizer. That's it. Have a nice day. Well, no, let's do more than that. Let's add in an ASeries, because that's the comparison I want to do. That's what we're going to do. We have the envelope for it. I'm going to run it into CV2 up there, and I'm going to trigger it off of the gate on the 19 SEQ. Yeah. And you'll see in the programmer that we left open that the ASeries is already set to receive notes. So now we have the sequencer data going both to the Pulsar and to the ASeries. So when this gate is triggered by the sequencer data, our envelope will enable or trigger. Yeah. I'm going to dial up some moderate settings by moving up to the short on the little switch here, and then dialing everything back some. About, yeah, we'll just say it's 60%. And let's record that and let's see what it looks like. Maybe need a little more attack than that, but who cares, right? You can see we do have our attack, our decay, and our sustain, then our release. So this particular envelope has two features over the one in the, well, three features. How about that? You also have the decay and a sustain level that you can set. We didn't have that. We just had, you know, a volume, and it's not even velocity sensitive here. So adding a decay and a sustain level, and not to mention that it is actually velocity sensitive, getting stronger with the harder notes. So great, fantastic. Now what do we do with it? There are a couple ways to do this, and I'm going to show you the way that I like least first, so that you have to watch the rest of the video to see the way that I like best. Yeah, that's mean. Going in and setting up a merger splitter. I still want to keep that thing hooked up to my Thor over there. I'm going to take the envelope, split it off, and run it into the combinator. Then set the CV1 to unipolar. And now we can go into the Pulsar and set source to CV1 input, LFO1 to LFO1 level. And okay, so now here's a trick too. One of the things that I have a lot of trouble with when I'm messing with this is keeping the volumes in check. The levels of these things seem to get out of hand really quick. When I'm playing instruments or doing any kind of recording, I tend to like to keep my sound sources below -10 on the meter here, so that I have some kind of headroom before I end up clipping. With these modular synth deals, you'll see it in the patches that come with them. They tend to be very, very, very hot. Yeah, and not in that very interesting kind of hot kind of way. All right, so with that said, what I do is I check the level of the LFO. Here, let's go to one of the more harsh ones, like a square wave. Going to move the shuffle up. Okay. I don't want it any louder than -10. So that puts me right at about 40% for a peak volume. Alright, so I'm going to come in here to the programmer and set my max volume at 40%. Just like that. And now the strongest key, when I press down, will trigger the strongest envelope, and that should bring us up on the level. So let's see if it works. There it goes. Now see, there's something with it even now that it comes out super loud. So be aware of that, and I apologize if that hurt anybody's ears. But yeah, there you go. So maybe this could even be tampered a little bit further down. It's still extremely hot. Well, okay, this is a mistake that I made before too. I'd never tweaked this level knob back down, so I've got both envelopes ending up increasing the level, and that was a... Yeah, okay, now we're super quiet. Alright, so I'll set it back up to about 45%. Basically ignore that last bit. Alright, that's hitting it about as hard as I can hit it. And that's my max volume, so I'm going to bring it up some more. I really screwed myself with that, having that level. Alright, oops, not that one. I'll bring it up to 80. Okay, good enough for me. Alright, so that's method number 1, and that's probably just the simplest way to go about doing it. But, you know, again, we started with a very basic synth. We had a single oscillator being triggered by the envelope on the pulsar going directly into the combinator. So that was simple. Now we've added the ability to have decay and sustain, not to mention velocity sensitive. Now using that as an amplitude envelope, which is, you know, basically like over here on Thor, you have the amplitude envelope now, and there's the button right there that we've been looking for, the gate trigger. Thor behaves this way because we have, you know, a gate trigger that re-triggers the envelope every time the gate is hit. Maybe that's what that does. I don't know. I haven't tested that. Probably should ignore that one too. Okay, so now I baited you with another way to do this. This is the way I prefer. Let's add in ASeries 2. And let's put it up there so that they match. Okay, and instead of running to CV1, I'm going to run the envelope into this mixer. You see input number 1, I'm going to run it into the CV there. And now I can run the audio output of the LFO into input 1 on this mixer, and then the output can go directly back into the combinator. Of course, this is a great idea because it opens up a lot more possibilities in expanding this synthesizer. I mean, it's still extremely basic. We have one sound source, one envelope, and that envelope's only affecting the level. So, you know, it's about as simple as it gets. And this should be functional. Oh, we probably need to drop the CV in deal here in the programmer. So, hey, look, no sound. What did I do wrong? Audio into the input, envelope triggering the volume on the input, and we're getting nothing. Why are we getting nothing? Huh. Nothing at all. Oh, yeah, see? It's just that complicated. You know, the level here on the oscillator needs to be set to a volume, because right now we're mixing in something that doesn't have any volume, so it's not doing anything. So if I manually bring the level up, now we have ourselves a working synth again. Thank you, you know. Alright, so turn on your rate, turn on your level, turn on your envelope, and have that envelope affect the mixer volume. Now, what's cool about this is now we have the flexibility to add in a second oscillator. Let's do it. Alright, so adding in another, I'll tell you what, we'll detune him by 2 Hertz just to see if it makes any difference whatsoever. My guess is it probably does not make a big difference. We'll run audio out from LFO2 into the input of the mixer, and we'll just take another split off of that same envelope and run it to control the volume of the second oscillator. I'm going to match these things up. That's on a square. Shuffles at 66%. And we detuned it by 2 Hertz. Let's adjust the volume. This is at 62%. Let's keep this one at 62%. Alright. What do we have? We have nothing. That's because I'm not on combinator, I'm on the Pulsar. I tell you what. There you go. Alright. So now we have 2 oscillators and we can detune them or do whatever it is that we want. Well, you stupid man. I was so impressed with myself. There it is. You turn it on, you dingbat. It's not that hard. But there you go. That's the difference that the 2 Hertz makes. And just to satisfy my own curiosity. Ooh, 262. That's what it sounds when it's perfectly lined up. Come on. 263. You get that thicker feeling going on. 261. Pretty much the same 5. Now the other cool thing is we've got a second oscillator. We can, screw with this shuffle knob just a pinch. So let's set them to the same tuning and see what kind of impact the shuffle knob. What is this one set to? 66. Alright, when they're perfectly in pitch, this is what it sounds like. Okay, and now I'm going to bring the shuffle up on the second one. And see, this is probably the sort of thing that could be modulated to give you a little bit different feel as you're going along. Now we've got the shuffle all set a bit, and I'm going to increase the tuning on that one. But now we've got something that's kind of workable, right? I like it, at least. Okay, and that's listening to that enough, thank you. And here you go. So now we have a 2 oscillator, mono synth that we're using this here mixer to, control the volume. So yeah, that's fantastic. How long has the video been going for? 18 minutes and 44 seconds. I think that's enough. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I think we covered everything we intended to cover. We've got a synth that works off of a little bit more sophisticated envelope. And yeah, anyway, save it and enjoy it and, do whatever you do. We'll talk to you next video. Bye-bye.